Alright guys, quick update on the Audi. Those of you that know it's not going to Steel Valley, that was actually a blessing for us, because one, it's Nick's anniversary. Nick wasn't taking his anniversary day to go compete, and two, it allowed me to rethink a little something here in the back. I'm to the point now that I'm working on the floor and the side panels. You can see I've got these guys stripped except for this section, and I'm working on the side panels. They're going to fit better than factory when I'm done. But let's take a look at this floor. In the past, Ian, the previous owner of the car, had a suitcase sub here, and you can see the cutout there. And then this panel of the floor that he made gave him access to a spare tire. So since we're putting the 24 there, we need a surface that is not solid like this, that the speaker can play through. So what I did is I created, this is just the framework, the outer framework of it, a big steel frame that's going to sit back here, and obviously there's more welding and structure to go in, but it's going to have metal grill over it, and then it's going to be carpeted, so it will look like a factory floor. Now the trick is, whether it's this piece or, you know, that MDF piece, at a show, this is what people are going to want to see. They're going to want to see the 24, they're going to want to see the amplifier. There'll be amplifiers on both sides as well, but we can't show off the mid basses, we can't show off the threes and the kicks, and we can't show off the tweets. Everything is hidden. Out of the entire car, this will be the showpiece, the back end of the car. So it didn't make sense to have Nick, to force him to, every time somebody wants to see it, he's leaning over, lifting this, showing the amplifier. If somebody wants to see the sub, he's pulling this out, removing it, putting it back in. That's just going to be exhausting after a day or after a full weekend at a show. So I came up with a solution, and that solution is linear actuators. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So some of you may have seen on social media where that I was laying out the trunk floor for the car. This is the actual height that I have inside to work with. This 1/2 inch represents the steel frame that's going to be the floor of the car, and this is my length from front to back for the subsection and for the amplifier section. Now the trick here is that I wanted both of these doors, or the panels, the floor panels that cover the sub and the amplifier, I wanted them both to open to 50 degrees, and I felt 50 degrees was a good angle for someone that's standing behind the car to look in and see inside the car without, say, this big floor panel blocking view of the amplifier. If I put it at 50 degrees, that should be a good angle for people to come in and look and not have their view obstructed by this big section of door. So this was laid out in full size, and this allowed me to not only determine the stroke length for my linear actuators, but also the mounting points for them, because I have mounting points for the brackets that are here and here, and then that allowed me to swing arcs from, say, that point over here, and that helped me determine the geometry. Like, 2 arcs intersect at one point, that has to be your mounting point for the actuator. It's not overly hard. So this is laid out, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys real quick these actuators. I do have a key fob remote for this. It says up and down on it, and these actuators, this is a 2-inch stroke, this one is a 4-inch stroke, and they move at 1.8 inches per second. So I'm going to go ahead, hit the button, and you can see it takes about a second longer, obviously, for this one to fully extend. This one is done in about a second, that one's about 2 seconds. So we're going to bring it back, and there we are. So that's a test of the linear actuators and the key fob system, and there's going to be 1 of these per side. So there's 2 of these for the sub section of the floor and 2 for the amplifier section of the floor. It's going to be way more power than we need. Each one of these will lift like 44 pounds. But just to get an even lift on it, I'm doing 1 per side. So quick update, that's what's going to happen in the floor of this car.